Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson on Surrendel by Guillory. As always, only the first part will be on YouTube. For full access, you can check out my brand new website or my trusty old Patreon page. Both offer different experiences at different pricing points, so there should be something for everyone. For the tab, please do visit the website, as you will get a discount if you order the tab through the link there. Guillory, and not Guillory as I will mistakenly call him in several parts of the lesson, is not a household name anymore, not even among acoustic guitar players. Most of his work as a singer-songwriter will probably be viewed as folk, but Mr. Guillory has one distinct quality that separates him from the stereotype of the strumming-only open chords guitarists of the folk scene. The man was an absolute demon on the guitar, combining classical guitar techniques with a highly developed hybrid picking style. During live performances, he often switched between vocal songs and solo acoustic tunes, making him one of the solo acoustic pioneers. There is not that much footage of Mr. Guillory available, but if anything, you should watch snippets of his performance live in Berkeley in '89, which can be found on YouTube. In that show, you will also hear that his amplified tone was nothing short of exceptional for that time. And he was known for being obsessed with a good amplified sound, going as far as to carry his own PA system to every show he played. You might also know him from somewhere else. Mr. Guillory co-wrote the Guitar Handbook together with Ralph Denier. Now, I don't know if this is the case around the world, but here in Belgium, every single guitar player I know owns this book. To the tune then, and I'll give you the good news straight away. This lesson is my response to the cry for some easier material. Mr. Guillory might be a demon on the guitar, but he knows how to hold back too, as is showcased in this song. The verse merely sets up the mood, while the melody of the chorus is something that you will be humming for the next days and weeks. The main challenge here is the amount of bar chords and the fragile and delicate nature of the song. If you think that this one is too easy for you, just learn the first 4 bars of the chorus and see how many times you catch yourself playing it in the coming weeks. This song does offer something for the more advanced guitar players too. Quite often I get the question how you can control your nerves when playing in front of an audience. Once you get through the first song, the nerves usually disappear. But when that song is, let's say, a Tommy Emmanuel tune, things can go terribly wrong. This song can be the one you play just to get rid of any nervousness, right before tackling more challenging songs. And as a personal example, I used to play music at funerals quite a lot, playing songs in between the ceremonial texts. That means quite a lot of waiting between songs, quite often in a stone-cold church. Whenever I could feel my fingers going cold, I knew my next fancy song was going out the window, and I would play this one instead. And even with frozen fingers, I could pull this one off. I hope you can too. Let's get you started. Okay, straight to playing then. The guitar is in standard tuning, and that is all you need, which means no pick, no thumb pick, no capo, nothing. I'm going to dive straight into the first verse. The verses, if you watch any live versions, they are played more or less free time. I'm going to switch over to more or less a steady sense of time, so you get a good idea where each and every note needs to land. Here we go, verse number 1. that is the pickup line heading into the chorus already. So the verse is basically setting the tone. Moody chords, lots of color in those different chord shapes. And when playing it live, Mr. Guillory uses loads of reverb to fill in the spaces in between each and every chord. So as always, I'm doing this bone dry, but you will notice the effect. Once you can play through it, just add a little bit of reverb and it all springs to life. Let's go over the chord shapes. We start with a big E major chord with an added ninth. Open E string, middle finger 2nd fret on the A string, pinky 4th fret on the D string, index finger 1st fret on the G string, and everything else is open strings. Picking pattern is almost always the same thing. E string, A string, G string, D string, and then all the way up to the high E string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we switch to a small bar A chord, and you're adding the pinky to the 4th fret. Now you have to lift up the bar of this A chord so you get an open E string on top. So you get, which is by lifting up that index finger, you get that open E string. If that is too difficult, then you can do it with separate fingers as well, and then switching over to the 2nd fret, but the bar is a little bit more efficient. So start by playing A string, D string, G string, B string at the same time to an open E string, then back to the B string, still holding down the pinky, and then you add the ring finger to the 4th fret on the G string before letting go of everything and just playing the bar at the 2nd fret. In time, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is possible to play this section without that bar being lifted up for that open E string as well. Then you get something like this. So you have to switch around, but it is possible using the index finger, middle finger, and pinky. Then switching over to the ring finger on the G string and then dropping a bar across the 2nd fret again. So that leaves out that necessity to raise up that index finger for the open E string. Then we head back into the next bar, and it's the same thing as the first bar. Exactly the same thing, exactly the same chord shape in arpeggio. Back to a bar on the 2nd fret, playing the A chord, moving up the bar 2 frets to the 4th fret, then adding the middle finger on the 5th fret on the B string, and heading back down to the 2nd fret. You try to do all of this while that A string rings out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then you move over to a full bar on the 4th fret. More on that in a second. First, those first 4 bars back to back. We're now moving to a G sharp minor 7th chord. Normally this would be the full chord shape. Now we never need that ring finger on the A string, so we're just leaving it out. We're playing just a full bar. We plug the low E string, the G string, and the D string at the same time. Then one more time, the low E string, and again, the same 2 strings. Now, in most live versions, this feels like a bar of 3 instead of a bar of 4. So you get 1, 2, 3, 1, moving over to the next chord, which is C sharp minor. So I guess it's sort of a byproduct of playing this a little bit free time. You don't really need to stick to those 3 counts for this bar, but just know that it feels a little bit shorter when you're listening to the live version. Then we switch over to a standard C sharp minor chord. We're playing the A string Sorry, let me go over the fingering. For those of you who are not familiar, bar across 5 strings on the 4th fret from the A string to the high E string, then adding the ring finger and the pinky on the 6th fret, D string and G string, and the middle finger on the 5th fret on the B string, C sharp minor. You play the A string and the B string at the same time, and then we're going to arpeggiate up and down through the whole chord shape. And all the way at the end, we're sort of accelerating into a triplet in order to fit all of those notes into the same bar. Let me count along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now for the next chord, I'm going to give you 2 options. This very colorful one, which is a D major 13 chord, middle finger, 5th fret on the A string, index finger, 4th fret on the D string, pinky, 6th fret on the G string, and then 2 open strings on top of that, giving you D major 13. Picking pattern is just arpeggiating strings again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So A string, D string, B string, G string, D string, and then the 2 open strings on top. Lovely arpeggio. Very colorful. And if you switch over from the C sharp minor chord, make sure you keep the pinky on the G string. So you go from C sharp minor to that D major 13 chord, the pinky stays where it is. It's also possible, if this chord shape turns out to be tricky for some reasons, there are also versions where Mr. Guillory just moves up the bar to the 5th fret and plays a D major 9th chord voicing, having the bar across, again, 5 strings on the 5th fret this time, adding the ring finger to the 7th fret on the D string and the middle finger on the 6th fret on the G string, and basically playing the same arpeggio. Slightly different color, but it works as well. It's a little bit easier switching to this chord shape than switching to this chord shape. But again, the picking pattern is the exact same thing. And then we move to an A chord with B in the bass, ring finger 7th fret low E string, pinky 7th fret on the D string, middle finger 6th fret on the G string, and again 2 open strings. Again, we're just playing an arpeggio all the way down. Just all the way down from the low E string, D string, G string, B string, and the top E string. That's it. Those 4 bars back to back, starting on the G sharp minor chord. 1, 2, 3, 1. And then we move back down to the same E chord. It was the first half of the verse. Let me play those first 8 bars one more time back to back. The same E chord. Now remember, I'm sticking to more or less a steady tempo. You are meant to play this free time. For better idea, than just check out the cover version and you'll see what I mean. I won't be actually counting the beats in between each and every chord. Next 4 bars, same arpeggio, no difference. Same move going up, bar 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, but now we're going to play a pedal tone underneath. So we play the first chord, and then we are going to play a bass note on the D string each time we move up. So 1, 2, adding the middle finger, 3, and then all the way at the end we add the pinky to the 7th fret on the B string, and it's always melody note, bass note on the D string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, back to a G sharp minor chord. Again, we don't need the ring finger on the A string. Rolling across the chord, low E string, G string, B string, high E string. Adding the middle finger to the 5th fret on the high E string. And then removing it again and then hammering on and pulling off. 1, 2, 3. Moving over to the pinky. So the first section is chord, melody note, hammering on and pulling back off, and then using the pinky on the 7th fret on the B string before heading back to the 4th fret on the high E string. All the while through that section, you try to keep at least the bass note sounding out, and if possible, that D string and G string as well. Back to C sharp minor. This chord is placed more or less in front of the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And now we're moving around that C sharp minor chord, arpeggiating D string, G string to the high E string, then to the B string, and we're pulling off with the middle finger from the 5th fret to the 4th fret, holding down the bar. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way at the end on the 4th bar, it's plucking the D string and G string, 6th fret, and then letting go of that and heading over to the bar on the 4th fret. And then we drop down the bar 2 more frets to the 2nd fret for an F sharp minor 7th chord. We'll head to that section in just a second. First, those last 4 bars one more time. Moving up with the bass line. The 2nd fret, F sharp minor. Now we're going to move up the neck, and it's very simple. You start with the bass note, and then you always pluck the D string and G string, just holding down the bar on the 2nd fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then we move up 2 frets again. So the timing is first the bass note and then straight 8th notes. 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd beat, you repick the bass note. 1, 2, 3. And you let that one ring out before you move up 2 frets and play the D string and G string again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Same thing, just a bass note on the 1st beat and always picking D string and G string, holding down the bar on the 4th fret now. Just that 2nd bar. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd beat again, a bass note. Then you add the middle finger to the 5th fret on the B string. You play the high E string, and you're going to hammer on and pull off to the 5th fret again. Now, if you have the dexterity, you can leave that 5th fret down and do that hammer on and pull off with the ring finger. Then you get this. You have to head back to the pinky on the 7th fret again. It's the same hammer on and pull off you did before. 4th fret, 5th fret, to the 4th fret again, and then pinky, 7th fret, F sharp on the B string. And if you can hold down the middle finger on the 5th fret, it just gives a little sustain to the rest of that chord. You get this. But it does make that hammer on a bit trickier. If it doesn't work, you can switch over with the middle finger as well. And play it like that. Whatever happens, you then switch over to the 5th fret with the index finger. No more bar now, so your left hand gets sort of a break, and we add an A major 7th chord shape. Index finger 5th fret on the low E string, ring finger 6th fret and pinky 6th fret as well on the D string and G string, and the middle finger 5th fret on the B string. That's the chord shape. going to stick to this chord shape and basically play a light form of jazz comping. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all on the same chord shape. We're picking the low E string and the D string with the thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Heading down to a B power chord. Maybe just the rhythm of that bar is bass note, then 2 chords, thumb, middle finger and index finger, then just the D string, the G string and B string, and then back to the full block chord in its entirety. So 1, 2, 3, 4, pinky and ring finger stick to the same set of strings, they just move down 2 frets to the 4th fret and you add the index finger to the 2nd fret on the A string. This is going to be your final chord in front of the beat. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And that is where the verse ends. So just double stop, G string and D string, sorry, bass note, D string, G string. In time, with that previous bar, you get this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then you move up to the 4th fret with the index finger, and that is going to lead us into the chorus. Before we head there, those last 4 bars, one more time. Into the chorus. That was the full verse. Maybe one more time, those last 8 bars one more time, and then I'm going to play through the whole thing just one more time to connect all the dots. Here we go, the last 8 bars. So as you can see, there is quite a bit of space in between those chords. Remember, the reverb and the delay is going to fill up those gaps, but this is all you need to do. One more time through the entire first verse. I'm sticking to a steady pace here. It is not the way it is meant to be played. It is played to be free time, but this way you do have a good idea where, in terms of timing and rhythmic feel, each and every note should land. The good news is you can basically play half of the song now. I am going to add in a few variations in the second verse, but you don't have to play those. You can play the exact same thing you just did here. But I think it's about time we dove into the chorus, which is the really haunting part and the catchy part of the whole tune. I'll see you again in part 2 for more on that. Take care.